Yeah, I mean, obviously you gotta pick her up higher. She shoots from the logo, so you can't pick her up at the logo, just because again, that's a super comfortable shot. It's almost like a layup to her. Let's do her going to her left. So we just gotta be aware, and it's just not about just an individual matchup. It's gonna be a team effort because they play so fast. So we're gonna be in constant communication, picking her up, whoever's closest, and then obviously physicality. Like you can put some physicality on her. Both her and even Kelsey Mitchell, we can't ignore, what type of elite shooter she is as well.
We're watching film. What is your message to your team about slowing her down?
Was on Caitlin, was it blitz the pick and roll essentially?
I mean, you guys, saw what we're doing, right? But like I said, just to the prior press conference before was we were being disruptive. We know that she doesn't like physicality.
Whoa. She don't like physicality. Y'all was out there hacking. What are you talking about? She don't like? Y'all be trying to make it seem like Caitlin Clark is soft. Absolutely not. She gets guarded with a level of physicality that nobody else in the league does. We all know that. We know she was targeted, most flagrantly fouled player in the league and all of that. Caitlin Clark holds her own against physicality. I don't know what you talking about. Whatever physicality y'all was trying, it didn't work. 22-9, threes from the logo on your head top. You might want to chill out because she might get mad and tear your ass up again next game.
Right? We know that she wants to get to that left step back. I mean, to me, all the time, I watched her in Iowa. So she loves that left step. It's like almost like a layup for her. So again, we're just making sure that she wasn't getting into rhythm and then that she was just seeing multiple bodies. Yeah.
Well, it looked like she was in a pretty good rhythm to me. Yeah.
That confidence right there. That's exactly the kind of high-stakes game plan you lay out when you genuinely believe you finally cracked the code on a generational talent. You see, Natalie Nakos wasn't just casually chatting with reporters or offering vague cliches before the tip-off. She was effectively making a public promise to the fans and the league.
Know that she wants to get to that left step back. I mean, to me, all the time, I watched her in Iowa. So she loves that left step. It's like almost like a layup for her. So again, we're just making sure that she wasn't getting into rhythm and then that she was just seeing multiple bodies. Yeah.
Well, it looked like she was in a pretty good rhythm to me. Yeah. Go back to the drawing board, Natalie Nakos. You're a good coach, but back to the drawing board, okay?
She walked into that room with the swagger of a coach who had found the off switch for the most dangerous player in the WNBA. The strategy was clear, concise, and bold. Pick her up at the logo, force her to her left, get extremely physical from the jump, and make every single possession a grueling team effort.
Throw some cold water on the hot performance of Caitlin Clark.
Sheen, what?
Nope. We gotta get close. Caitlin, you had a career high tonight. What was working well for you tonight? Dang it.
Oh, sorry.
Good job.
I feel like we did a good job just spacing the floor and attacking them off the dribble. Yeah, getting mismatches. Tip did a great job too of that. I just want to say.
Got a career high. Give me some. That's what's up. What are some of the takeaways we can take from tonight going into next Thursday when we play them again? Just coming in focused from jump. I think our defense is our bread and butter, and 90 points is too much for any team for us. So I just think we got to go back to the drawing board and fix the little things, because it's literally little things, and it's us.
Okay, whatever you thought she would, Nakos had clearly spent hours in the film room identifying what she thought were the cracks in the armor, and she wanted the world to know the Golden State Valkyries were ready to shut down the league's most explosive scoring threat. He's had to say as she tried to
go out there and play, especially in a game like that where it's a little more intense.
Yeah, it was definitely really physical too. And they're a really good team, and they're really good defensively, and we battled, and I thought we played really great defense, especially in the second half, and thought we got off to a good start, then we kind of dropped a little bit, and then the second half was really, really good and kind of powered us through. I thought we played great one-on-one defense. That was kind of what they were just doing, is hunting ISO, especially on me, like just ISO, top of the key. And we forced them into contested twos. I think they were 4 for 17 in the fourth quarter, so it's a recipe for a win for us. But for me personally, like, it was definitely good to, see my first 2 shots go in and then kind of go from there.
Caitlin Clark showed out, man, and then stepped it up defensively in the fourth quarter. They was hunting Caitlin Clark, and she wasn't going for it.
But after watching 22 points and 9 three-pointers rain down on her defense, we really need to take a step back and examine what happens when a well-constructed theory meets a harsh, unstoppable reality. Because those post-game interviews revealed something far more telling than just another highlight reel for the history books. here in WNBA history to record 20 points and 5 assists in each of the first 5 games of the... What we saw in those post-game pressers was a team and a coaching staff that seemed physically unable to admit what every person watching the game already knew deep down. Coach Nakos stood there having just watched her defense surrender 90 points to the Indiana Fever and doubled down on a narrative that just didn't hold water.
I was just trying. Oh, did I get a technical? Oh, no way. Oh, it just makes sense for the refs tonight, so I'm not surprised. Wow. Wow, I could have got ejected. I should have been a little safer in the second half. Okay, well, guess I have some fines coming my way. And a flagrant. Wow. Well, the refs were interesting, but I'm not going to say anything else because obviously I got probably $1,000 worth of fines coming my way, but I was just trying to get the rebound and I didn't know I got a technical foul, but thanks.
These refs were a joke. Hey, the black dude number 11, yo, I never want to see you ref a game, bro. I don't know where you came from. I don't know if you work at Taco Bell in real time. I don't know if you...
You have to listen to her words carefully because they're fascinating. She looked at the cameras and insisted that Caitlin Clark doesn't like physicality. That's the story Nakos is trying to sell to the media and her own locker room. That despite the final score, their plan to be disruptive was working. Because in her view, Clark struggles when the game gets chippy. She wasn't going for it. And then that chippy moment with Solana halftime that led to the double text.
For letting me know, I appreciate it.
Think of what she did tonight and just her ability to do that off the bench.
Yeah, I think for Raven, you know, her immediate impact I think is great. I think defensively she picks up the ball pretty high and just tries to make it difficult on whoever's dribbling the ball. So I think that's definitely her impact tonight. And then obviously she was able to get downhill, knock down a big 3 for us in LA. So I think, she's just doing exactly what we need her to do.
I think Raven Johnson definitely played a really, really nice game. I think
wanted to rest from last season. But here's the glaring problem with that assessment. It completely ignores the actual data and the reality of Clark's entire career. If you're going to claim she doesn't handle physicality well, you have to explain the fact that Caitlin Clark led the entire league in flagrant fouls drawn last season. Think about that for a second. She's been the primary target of more hard hits, aggressive bumps, and borderline non-basketball plays than almost anyone else in recent WNBA history. The entire league has been using her as a human punching bag to test her resolve since the very first minute of her rookie season, and the results are documented in the wins and losses. She doesn't shrink away from the contact, she uses it as fuel, thriving in the chaos where other players might fold. So when Nako says, "We know she doesn't like physicality," immediately after Clark just dropped 22 points and 9 deep balls on her head, what we're really witnessing is a textbook case of cognitive dissonance. The game plan was probably brilliant on a whiteboard, and the players likely gave 100% effort in executing those instructions, but the outcome was a disaster. Instead of acknowledging that there might not be a defensive scheme on Earth that can consistently stop a player who can pull up from the logo with a hand in her face, the narrative shifted toward Clark's supposed weakness to protect the ego of the strategy. That step back 3, that's the specific weapon Nakos identified as Clark's ultimate comfort zone, her absolute go-to move whenever she starts to find her rhythm. And to give credit where it's due, the coach is absolutely right about the scouting report. Every single coach, scout, and player in the league knows that Clark wants to get to that step back. It's been her signature move since her legendary days at Iowa, and there are thousands of hours of film proving just how lethal it is. But here is the massive disconnect. Knowing exactly what a player is going to do and actually possessing the physical tools to stop it are 2 entirely different universes. The Valkyries didn't walk into this game as a bottom-tier defense. They came in boasting the best defensive rating in the entire league through their first 4 games. They had the elite personnel, they had the sophisticated scheme, and they had the preparation. And yet, Caitlin Clark still found her windows. She still created the space she needed to operate, and she made them pay from distances that shouldn't even be considered viable shot attempts in a professional basketball game. Now this is the part of the post-game coverage where things get truly revealing, as veteran guard Tiffany Hayes tries her best to downplay what was objectively a career-defining performance. In a reporter asked her directly about Clark's historic night, Hayes didn't want to talk about the opponent. She pivoted immediately to her own team's offensive mechanics. She talked about the importance of spacing the floor, the need to attack better off the dribble, and the goal of hunting mismatches, basically doing everything in her power to avoid acknowledging the flamethrower on the other side of the court. Then she dropped the kicker. She admitted that 90 points is simply too much for their team to give up, but then she framed it as an internal failure. She claimed they just need to go back to the drawing board and fix the little things, insisting that the loss was entirely about their own mistakes and had nothing to do with the person who is actually putting the ball in the hoop. "It's us," she said. "It's no one else." Let that statement sink in for a moment because the implications are wild. The Indiana Fever just hung 90 points on the best defense in the league, with Caitlin Clark hitting 9 three-pointers, including several logo shots from beyond 30 feet. And the response from the losing side is that it's all just about their own little things. This is the kind of mental gymnastics that professional athletes and coaches perform when they simply cannot reconcile their intense preparation with a demoralizing result. Admitting that an opponent is just fundamentally better or that they possess a skill set you literally cannot scheme away feels like a total surrender of your competitive identity. So instead of giving credit, you focus on your own execution, your own minor errors, and your own fixable problems. It's a coping mechanism designed to keep the locker room believing that they are still in control, even when they're clearly not. But the history books don't care about little things or coaching narratives. They care about the numbers, and the numbers here are staggering. Caitlin Clark is now the first player in the history of the WNBA to record at least 20 points and 5 assists in each of the first 5 games of a season. Just think about the names that she just zoomed past. We're not talking about average players, we're talking about the pantheon of the sport. Not Angel Reese, not Ogwelson, not Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, or any other legendary figure you can name. She is the first player ever to maintain that specific elite level of production through an opening stretch of a season. We are literally watching history being written in real time, yet half the league is still trying to figure out how to talk about her without accidentally giving her too much credit or admitting that the game has changed. It's also incredibly revealing to listen to how Caitlin herself talks about the game compared to the way the Valkyries coaching staff handles it. While Knuckles and Hayes were leaning on deflections and excuses, Clark was giving a masterclass in tactical breakdown and emotional intelligence. She acknowledged that they played her physically and that they were actively hunting isolations against her whenever she was on the defensive end. But she credited the Fever's response, pointing out how their disciplined help defense forced the Valkyries into taking tough, contested two-point shots, which led to Golden State shooting a dismal 4 for 17 in the final quarter. Then she mentioned the X factor that no coach can account for, seeing her first 2 shots go in. That is the fundamental difference between a player who understands the spiritual nature of rhythm and a coach who thinks you can just disrupt it with a rigid game plan. Clark knows that once she sees that ball snap to the net early on, her confidence compounds, her range extends even further, and her decision-making becomes razor-sharp. The Valkyries desperately wanted to keep her out of rhythm, but by giving up those 2 early makes, they made the rest of the night's explosion almost inevitable. And we have to talk about that bizarre technical foul moment because it reveals so much about the strange way officials are handling Caitlin Clark this season. In the heat of the game, she's going up for a rebound. There's some standard basketball contact with Satu Sabali, and somehow, out of nowhere, Clark is the one assessed with a technical foul. What's even crazier is that she was so locked into the game, she didn't even realize she'd been teed up until the post-game press conference. She actually joked about it, saying she could have been ejected and probably should have played it safer in the second half if she had known. Think about the mental pressure of that situation. She's out there having to regulate her own natural physicality, not because she's a dirty player, but because the officiating has become so wildly inconsistent that standard contact carries the risk of her being tossed from the game. When she caught herself before saying too much, jokingly mentioning that she probably has $1,000 worth of fines coming her way for even suggesting the refs were interesting. That's the sound of a player who has quickly learned that speaking the truth about the double standards in the league is an expensive hobby, while everyone is focused on the Clark versus Nakos drama. We shouldn't overlook the impact of players like Raven Johnson, who provided 15 crucial minutes off the bench with an immediate defensive spark and a massive transition three-pointer. This is the kind of depth and supporting cast production that makes Indiana a nightmare for the rest of the league. They aren't just a one-woman show anymore. They are a legitimate, multi-dimensional contender. But despite this, the broader narrative remains stuck in the mud. The Valkyries are undoubtedly going to go back to their facility, sit in a dark room, and watch this game film over and over again. They're going to see all the same tendencies that Nakos pointed out before the game. The step-backs, the drives to the left, the deep logo threes, and they are almost certainly going to convince themselves that if they just execute a little better, if they play just a bit more physically, and if their rotations are just a fraction of a second tighter, they can produce a different result in the rematch. The reality, however, is that they likely can't, because the core problem isn't their game plan. The problem is that Caitlin Clark operates on a plane of existence where conventional defensive wisdom simply stops working. You cannot pick her up at the logo, because she has the elite handles and speed to blow right past you into the paint. You cannot play off her and give her space, because she will punish you by shooting over the top from 35 feet out. You can't switch every screen because she is a master at hunting the specific mismatch she wants, and you certainly can't trap her because she will immediately find the open teammate with the kind of visionary passing that most veteran point guards couldn't dream of making. The Golden State Valkyries are a genuinely good defensive unit with smart, capable coaches and experienced tough players. But they are currently in the process of learning the same hard lesson that every other team in the league has eventually discovered: there is no magic scheme that stops Caitlin Clark when she is in her flow state. At that level, you're essentially just hoping she has an off night and misses the shots she normally drains with ease. That isn't a failure of coaching, and it's not a result of a lack of effort or bad preparation on the Valkyries' part. It's simply what true greatness looks like when it's firing on all cylinders. The sooner teams stop pretending that their losses are solely about their own little mistakes and start acknowledging the unprecedented talent they are facing, the sooner we can have a real, honest conversation about the era of basketball we are witnessing. Natalie Nakos will surely spend the next week making adjustments, tweaking the personnel matchups, and emphasizing that same physicality she believes is the key to victory. And in all likelihood, Caitlin Clark will show up for the rematch and do exactly what she just did. Because when you can knock down a contested 30-footer as easily as a layup, coaching adjustments start to lose their meaning. The Valkyries walked away from 90 points, surrendered, and started talking about fixing things. The Valkyries walked away from 90 points scored and talked about executing the plan. That massive gap in perspective tells you everything you need to know about where these two organizations are mentally right now. One is still reeling and trying to figure out how this happened, while the other knows exactly why it happened and fully expects it to keep happening. When they meet again next week, I want you to pay close attention to the body language in those opening 3 minutes. If Clark hits her first 2 shots again, watch the reaction on the Valkyries bench, because that's when you'll see if they finally accepted the new reality of the league, or if they're still clinging to the idea that a good game plan can overcome a massive talent gap. My prediction? We're going to see the exact same press conference as next time, with the same excuses and the same little things being blamed for another Clark masterclass. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think Golden State can actually adjust and make this competitive? Or is Caitlin Clark just proving that she's unguardable? Personally, after what we just saw, I think I know exactly which way this is going.